Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is LaTroy again, and we are here for another episode of Troy Life. This episode is kind of like different than the other ones. It's actually going to be a little heavier than the other ones. I did not realize that this month was National um, I can't use the S word because apparently online if you use the S word then this whole thing. But like self-harm month. And I wanted to let people know kind of my journey and honestly how close I got to being on the other side of not being here. And there's been some things that's happened recently with some people and some things that have been very reminiscent about what I went through and when I went through it, and honestly, who I went through it with. And I just think that more people should be open because hopefully you can help somebody. And it sounds very dramatic to say save somebody, but help save somebody because you never know what people are going through. You never know when you'll end up in the same situation that the people that you have been chastising, like Funky the Diva, who was trying to drag me a few years ago, darling. And now look at him. He on the internet and his YouTube with green screen crying. But I just think that with this being a month of self harm awareness, and also being a person that thought that I didn't want to be here anymore. It really was something that I thought that would be good for Troy Life because I know I'm not the only one. This is the thing about Troy Life is I always want to have it and make it be a thing where it's not really just about me, it's about other people too. Like even if you watch it based on a true story, it's about myself with all of my friends or things they have going on. And although it's named after me, it really is about the stories about everybody else. I think when I was dealing with all of the stuff I was dealing with, the thing that took me almost over the edge was being lied on. When it was being said that I basically betrayed somebody and that I was selling videos and all that stuff to people. And I feel like if anybody that knows me knows that I'm a loyal person, I'm a person that makes sure, like, I'm actually the person that always tries to help people cover stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I, it that and it happened on New Year's Day. On New Year's Day, I was accused of selling a video and exposing people, and I'm just like, dog, what are you talking about? That's not me. And then once again, here comes the gay mafia and they're attacking me because they think they know something, but nobody's paying $5,000. That's what they say. It's like $5,000 for this video of a prayer. Nobody is really no not really nobody's paying that. And I think the fact that people believed that about me, that people believe that I would betray people, that I would sell stuff of other people, and that it happened on New Year's Day, I was just like, I can't catch a break. Like I wanted to be done with this situation. Situation happened in November, and I was beat down for like 4 or 5 months. Like it started in November and didn't end until like February and March. And even now, when I go online, sometimes I still see comments and I'll still see like, oh, you got fired, or you were a purse holder, or you don't really have a job history, and who are you without Little Miss Love and War. That happens still until this day. But when it first was really going on, it was so heavy for me. And it was a space that I wasn't familiar with. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people that get into that space of self harm, is that they don't know how to deal with it. And it's usually situations that they've never been in before. And that's what it was for me. It's being in a situation that I've never been in before. And with it being National Self-Harm Month, and with the stuff with Funky the Diva, he drugged me. He drugged me for months, and then he turns around and wants sympathy and empathy. I am a very empathetic person. I am a person that gives a lot of sympathy to people, but I had to remind him that when you pick fights, you have to be careful. I always say that. Nicki Minaj said that. I always say that, but that is what made me almost go to the edge, is that I was in a place that I've never been in before. And honestly, I was accosted for doing something right. Like, I was accosted because I called out somebody that's abusive and somebody that like assaulted somebody. And the thing that gets me is that a lot of people were like, "Oh, it wasn't your place to say anything. You shouldn't have said anything. You should have waited. And if nobody wanted anybody to know, then that wasn't your place." But then fast forward to like now and think about the Diddy case. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, if everybody knew that Diddy was doing this or Diddy was doing that, A, B, C, and D, why didn't anybody speak up?" Look what happened to me when I spoke up. Look what happened to me when I saw something that I thought was not right and experienced something that I thought wasn't right. Look at what happened to me. So that is why people don't speak up. That is why people wait until people are in a position where they don't have that power over you anymore, because you can speak up about something and they will make you feel like you in the wrong, like you're the one that assaulted somebody. And I think, again, a lot of people are in that situation. It might not be in that situation, like that type of situation, but you can get beat down for doing what you think is the right thing and then turn right around and people allow other people to do the same thing they chastised you about. I think one of the hardest things of going through that situation, outside of not wanting to deal with the situations and feeling like I'm okay if I didn't wake up the next morning, like I'm okay if I go see what if heaven is really there or not. Outside of that, it's losing a friend, and it's losing a friend that you helped. And if you didn't help this friend, you would never be in this situation. And that's also very hard because when all this was going on, I was like, well, damn, if if I didn't fall out with her, she would have been the person that I called and talked to about this, because that's the type of friendship we had. And so that was just an extra layer on top of everything that I was going through, because I did lose a friend. I did lose somebody that I was all day, every day, dipset, early, never late. And that just, again, it contributed to the elephant on my chest, because I have all these people coming at me, and now I can't even call the person that I thought, well, I don't want to say thought, that the person that I was friends with, I can't even call them anymore. And that also contributes to being in a bad space, in a bad place, because you start to think like, I spent all this time invested in this friendship and all this energy. I don't, I still think some days I'm like, did I make the right decision of saying something? Did I make the right decision letting the friendship go? And that's just something I have to live with, and something that I have to be comfortable with, and something that I have to know that I made eventually the right decision for me. But when all of that is coming at you, I mean, you have thousands of fans coming at you. You have people that you worked with. I don't want to say work with, because I didn't work with those people. I was helping those people that you were helping along the way turn against you and make you feel like you're this villainous person. that can destroy somebody. And I will say that it destroyed me and it changed me for a while. And it took a lot of like my friends and my real friends. Like I have friends that I still talk to from the seventh grade that had to remind me, like, yo, LaTroy, you still have friends from the seventh grade. That is a big deal. That means that you are not this person they're painting you out to be, but you still in the back of the head, in back of your head, you still think about like, damn, maybe I'm not a good friend, maybe I'm not a good person, and that again, it all is part of what makes people think that they want to go over the edge. And I honestly felt like I wanted to go over the edge. I um got to a point where I have bad handwriting, everybody. First of all, I have really bad handwriting. And I think I thought that like leaving behind a letter was kind of cliche. So I text people and I text some friends and I basically let them know I didn't want to be here anymore. And, people sent out a search party and an Amber Alert for me. But it was just so much. And I can only imagine how other people feel when they get into that position and they don't have anybody to call and they don't know what to do next, because I didn't know what to do next. I feel like my friends were the ones that taught me and showed me what to do next, and so without my friends I honestly don't know where I would be right now. And although I have very great friends, and like I said, people sent out search parties and Amber Alerts, and who was the president at the time? Was it? I forgot. Joe Biden. They was calling Joe Biden. Um, but I talked about this in the first video about how one of my coping mechanisms just in life became alcohol, right? And so that is why I started that medicine I talked to you guys about, naltrexone, I think it's called, that helps you curb your desire for alcohol. And during that time, I was drinking a lot, darling, like a lot. Now everybody knows I love a cocktail, and I still do love a cocktail, but excuse me, it got to a point where I was like, "Oh, you're doing this to mask something else." So to be transparent, I got a psychiatrist and I got a therapist, and a for the to differentiate the two, a psychiatrist helps you with like chemical balances in your head, and a therapist helps you with the thoughts in your head. And so I said, baby, I need to get I need to get a few of them. I'm like, I might need two psychiatrists and two therapists, and I need to get baptized again. I don't think my mother ever got me baptized, but that's a whole nother story. I got to tell y'all about her. But outside of my friends, it really was my therapist and my psychiatrist, and I really want to um, let people know and understand that it's okay to go to a psychiatrist. I know some people don't like being on medicine, and that's your prerogative. I know for me, in order for me to move on and to get out of those spaces, that's something that I had to do. I think everybody in the world in the world that goes through things should get therapy. I feel like therapy should be a part of high school curriculum, and I feel like therapy should be a part of bachelors. You go off to college because it's so important. We're dealing with so much stuff now, and old people will be like, "Oh well, we didn't go to therapy when we was younger, and this, that, and the third." And it's like, well, look what's wrong with y'all now. Maybe you should have went and got you a little piece of therapy. But that's really what I did to cope. And again, I started first of all with partying and in partying, going out, not the other type of party, but going out and drinking and getting drunk. And um, like I said, eventually I realized that wasn't a healthy thing to do. So, uh, therapists, psychiatrists, friends, all of that stuff helped me. But you really got to find out what helps you. And yeah, that's all I can say because I don't, I am not no coach. I am not Yanya Rhonda Van Zant, honey. First of all, she don't know what she can be talking about neither. But that's how I got through stuff. The thing about going through that situation and going, I'm sorry, I always keep, whenever I do this, I forget to look at the camera because I always get shy. But the thing about that situation is I had no choice but to ask for help. I'm not really a person that is like, oh, I need your help, or can you do this for me, or can you help me with that, A, B, C, and D. This was a situation that I could not control. And I felt powerless. I felt, although I had friends and family that had my back, I felt isolated. And I felt isolated because I had integrated so much of my life into a situation. And I said it to say that I integrated my life into a lot of the situation is to say that's why I was like, I don't want to be here no more. Like this has become my life. These people have become people that I see and talk to 18 hours out of a 24-hour day. And that just, I don't know if that was a me thing. I don't know if a lot of people feel that way. I have no idea, but it pushed just because, like I said, I'm not that type of person. Like I was made out to be a tyrant. I was made out to be um, not trustworthy. I was made out to just be a person that I knew that I wasn't, but I then started to think I was that person because the people, and more specifically, the person that I was doing so much for, just made me feel like I was just this uh, I don't even know the word, like this devil. And I still honestly don't know if I've dealt with that part yet, as far as allowing somebody to make me feel like a person I'm not. And then not only that, but then adapting those feelings that those people have towards me. Because then I'm like, wait, is that true? Am I that type of person? Am I untrustworthy? Am I the type of person that thinks that people think that I sell stories to TMZ? Am I the type of person that, all the other things that her and her gay mafia and Malibu's Most Wanted was saying about me? I don't know. But what I do know is all of those thoughts and all of that energy that was coming towards me made me very, 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 um, don't want to say the word because I don't want this video to be tagged, but made me not want to be here no more. It really did. Like, and I'll keep saying it. You go from thousands of people thanking you and loving you to overnight having thousands of people talking about you, bashing you. I honestly don't even know how I dealt with it. There's the question of how did you deal with it, and I answered that question, but there's still some things that I'm not sure how I got through, and even now I can post something like, and somebody will be like, "Oh, well, that's why you got fired from the tour." I'm like, "Bitch, I can't get fired from no tour. Like, I didn't work there." And that's almost 2 years later, and it's very triggering to me when stuff like that happens because I want to move on, and also I know they're not doing that to her. So the fact that they're not doing it to her, but now I have to deal with it is, again, it just contributes to that elephant that's on my chest. I think I had such a hard time dealing with this situation because I thought I always had it together. I always showed up in a room with just like joy and hopefully a light. I hope people feel that. And it took me a while to realize like I people were coming up to me and being like, "Yo, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I didn't realize that my light had started to dim. And that's when I realized that there was more wrong with me than I acknowledged and that I thought was going on. And I don't necessarily feel like it was a stigma. I don't necessarily think that it was a thing where I didn't want to be known like as a person that goes through therapy. And I it honestly was people telling me I was different. And when people start to tell you that you're different and that you're not yourself, and they start telling you that, and it's not in a like positive light, that was what made me sit back and think like, "Hey, LaTroy, you're not dealing with this as well as you think you're dealing with it," you know? Because I got reckless at a point. I was cussing everybody out. Like, anybody can get it, okay? I was like that. I'm like, yo, anybody can get it. It's whatever. Like, pop up. I'm out here, Baltimore, all day, every day, even though I'm from Columbia, Maryland, but still. Um, I it wasn't until people made me realize that I was changed as a person, and they realized that, and that is why I decided I needed to just just everything. Um, that I couldn't just sit in that upsetness of what happened. I keep talking around this. Okay, so if you don't know, a few years ago, I helped Tamar Braxton plan her tour. Um, and well, no, I planned the tour along with her, didn't help plan the tour with her. Something happened, unfortunately, and her and I fell out. And her and a lot of her fans turned against me. The same fans that were so grateful and thankful that I helped plan the tour. And I was attacked for 4 or 5 months, and it made me not want to be here anymore. And it took me to a place that I've never been in before. And I think that the answer to why I didn't take the steps of like having a psychiatrist or having a therapist as much, because I had a therapist. It was like once a month, but now it's like, bitch, I need it every day. That is what made me start taking care of myself mentally. Like I said, psychiatrist is the chemical part of it, and therapist is like the thought process of it all. And that is what made me realize that I needed to go and figure it out. But also the thing is, in this situation, it also uncovered a lot of other things. And there's a lot of other things that you guys will see later on this series that I talk about. But it also unlocked a lot of other things that I did not realize was affecting me. And I will honestly say one of those things was over not overstepping, but over helpful. I don't know if that's the word, but like overextending myself. That's one of the things I learned from that situation is you got to be careful when you overextend yourself because it might not be reciprocated. It might go unappreciated, unwarranted. So those are all things that I learned in therapy and taking my pills, child. Looking back, um, if I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, in order to not be this, get in that space, what would I tell myself? Don't do it. Leave it alone. But I would I would look in the mirror and tell myself that there's such a thing as thankless task. And if you take on any task in life, that you should be aware that it might be thankless, it might be underappreciated, and that it might change and alter the person that you are. especially when you're not doing it for yourself. Because when you do things for other people, you kind of expect some sort of appreciation, and you might not always get that. So if I was looking at myself in the mirror, if I was guiding somebody or mentoring somebody, what I would really literally say is that look at yourself in the mirror, decide whether it's worth it, and also be prepared to look in that same mirror when you decide that it's not worth it, or that you decide that it was worth it. You know, a lot of times we look in the mirror, like on Insecure when not Lisa Ray, stay with it. Issa Rae would be looking in the mirror and she would hype herself up, but then when things were bad, she would be in the mirror and say how bad things were. And so I would tell anybody that's going through a situation that they feel like they cannot get through is to look in the mirror. And I feel like if you look in the mirror, you would definitely find something that is worth being here for. I guarantee you that there is somebody in your life that wants and that needs you here. And I would tell you to go and find that person or those people that need and that want you here. And I guarantee you, if you let those people know, and just being around those people. I had a friend during the time that all of that was happening that he was in DC. I was in LA. He called me, my friend Albert. Shout out to Albert. He was like, "Yo, I need you in DC. I need you next to me. Like, it's a lot going on." And I went to DC, and it made me feel 1,000 times better because I had a friend that was like, "Yo, I need to make sure you're good." So anybody that was going through anything like that or that's going through something like that, again, this is self harm awareness month. I would say don't give up, and that find the people that appreciate you and the people that feel like they need you as much as you need them or as much as you need the other person. Just find those people, and it doesn't have to be a bunch of people. It could be one person. Just find that person that needs you, because when I was going through my self thing and whatever, I felt like I wasn't needed. And I felt like I wasn't needed because I had been dismissed from something that I had worked so hard for and so hard on. And it's like, I'm not needed. I'm dismissed, and nobody cares. But then again, had all my friends, they came out and they put out an Amber Alert for me, and thank God for Jesus that I'm still here. And I hope and pray that this video maybe helps people, and that it lets people know that it's not over yet, you know. And when I say yet, I mean it's not it's not your responsibility to decide when it's over. It's not your responsibility to take yourself from the other people. Think about the other people. I know that when I was going through my situation, one person that I thought about was my best friend Taylor. And I thought about her because she has 3 kids and I'm the godfather to all 3 of her children. And it's just like, why would I leave that? Why would these 3 kids that love and adore me, what about them? And that's something else I would tell people, even when you're not looking in the mirror, look at the other people that are in your life and how they show up for you. And just think about the people that show up for you. If you take the route that I almost took, that you won't be there for them anymore. And if they have been people that are there for you and you can no longer be there for them, that's a very convoluted thing. And I think people should think about that more. And I feel like with this month being self harm awareness month, I keep calling it that because if you call it something else, then they will block you or whatever. But with it being self harm awareness month, I just feel that we should, I've always said we're not here on this earth for ourselves. We're here for everybody else. Um, that's why God made Eve for Adam, so that Adam won't down here just causing a fool and a mess and some ruckus. And that's what I believe. And that is what has me here, is thinking about the people that have been there for me and the people that love me. And although sometimes you'll think people love you and sometimes you'll think people are there for you and they're not, but just always remember that there is at least, I promise you, there's at least one person that needs you here. Not that wants you here, but that needs you here. And if you just have to cling on to that one person, I'm pretty sure that person won't mind because they need you here. And so that's what I feel like. This was very heavy today, darling. That is my spill on this topic, and I just hope that everybody knows that there's at least one person, promise you, at least one person that needs you and one person that wants you. And most of the time, it's more than just one or two people. So, yeah, that's my cautionary tale to me being at a point where I thought I didn't want to be here anymore. And the people that saved me and the people that let me know that they wanted me around and that they needed me around. And I just, even if you feel like you don't have that, just look in that mirror. Like I said, look in the mirror and you will definitely find something. Trust me, as somebody that was literally, uh, I wasn't just in a space of not wanting to be here anymore. I got to the space where I was trying to figure out what the plan was. Like, okay, how am I going to do this? Am I going to jump? Am I going to take pills? Am I going to jump in front of a moving car? Like, all this stuff was going through my head. Like, I had made up my mind. But again, those people that love and care about me and that want me and need me around, they saved me and they saved me more than they probably know. So I think one of the things about going through a crisis is that you don't know who to go to and when to go to people or when to go and get resources. Um, a lot of people suffer in silence. A lot of people feel like they have this whole armor of God on them and they don't know they should reach out to people. And so it's hard for your friends, your family, your colleagues, your kids, your cousins, your like it's hard for anybody to help you out when you don't even know what the hell is wrong with you. You don't even realize that you need help and that you're in a crisis. And that's what I feel like is the issue and why a lot of people are not here anymore is because they cannot identify that they're going through a crisis. And then once they identify that they're going through a crisis, they've already made up in their mind how they want to deal with it. So if I was talking to family and friends about how to be there for somebody, I would just say you have to be aware. Like there's this Libiaka song, and she goes, it's something like, I've been drinking a lot. She's like, I've been drinking so much for the past few days. Have you checked on me? Did you notice me? And that is very important. Like, pay attention to your friends and your families and your loved ones because you don't want them to get to a point that they're in a crisis, but you also don't want them to feel alone when they're in a crisis. So I think that we as people, again, I've said this 1,000 times, I feel like we're not here for ourselves, that we are here for other people. And I do think that there is a responsibility for us to make sure that we check on not our strong friends. Oh my God, I hate when people say that. Everybody's strong at something and everybody is weak at something. I feel like you have to check on the people that you love and that you care about. And that's the only way to prevent a crisis is to let people know you're going through a crisis and slash or allow and slash or if you love somebody and you care about somebody and you notice, like my friends notice a difference in me, that is that I feel like that's another way to prevent a crisis and being in a like world of crisis and just a mess like I was. I think that my life and my perspective on things changed because I feel like my life and perspective has changed as far as not wanting to be here anymore changed because I did realize and saw the amount of people that love me and that care about me. And that changed the person that I am. I have stopped looking for validation in certain things and certain people. I have started pouring more into and making sure, like, I've always showed up for my friends and stuff, but just making sure that I show up for people and I show up for things because that is what makes me feel like I belong here. That is what makes me feel like I am on the right path. If I can, if my friend has run into a roadblock and I can help them, that makes me feel like okay, I'm supposed to be here, and that is really what. Oh, excuse me. Stay with it. That's really what I've learned from all of this is that just make sure that you find out what your worth is and what you think your worth is, because what you think your worth is your worth, and don't let nobody else tell you different. So this is just another episode of Troy Life. I hope that this helps somebody during this month of self-harm awareness, aka the other word, can't say it because of A, B, C, and D. But yeah, so make sure you guys subscribe, you guys watch the other videos, and again, I hope this is helpful. Peace out. But I just wanna feel